Texas Tech has turned themselves into a very serious playoff contender for the 2025 college football season. I want to break down what they've done in the offseason, starting with the return of former five-star recruit Micah Hudson. Now, he doesn't have any on-the-field experience, but a five-star, ladies and gentlemen, is still a five-star. He is going to come back to this Texas Tech team, get some immediate playing time, and I think this offense is going to explode. Now, looking back at last season, they did lose their offensive coordinator in Zach Kittley, and they lost their star running back in Tajay Brooks, but replacing those guys are offensive coordinator Mac Leftwich, who was at Texas State last year. And for those of you who do not understand how good this guy is, Texas State was third in the country in scoring per game and fifth in the country in yards per game. This guy means business, and I think he's going to come to Texas Tech and light it up. And then at the running back position, they are bringing in Quentin Joyner from USC. This guy has serious potential. When you watch him on the field at USC, he's explosive. I just don't think he's gotten the shine yet that he needs, and that's exactly what he's going to get at Texas Tech. Now, they restocked their offensive line. They lost several key positions there, but somebody of note, Howard Sampson out of UNC, North Carolina. This guy is 6'8", 340 pounds. He's already on a ton of NFL draft boards. I think he'll shoot up that list this season. He showed some absolute dominant film at North Carolina. However, have we seen him start consistently for multiple seasons? No, but that is exactly what we're going to see at Texas Tech. I think he's going to be able to step right in to a Big 12 with softer defenses and dominate the line of scrimmage. This guy was built for it. 6'8", 340, absolute monster. But the biggest switch up for me for this Texas Tech team was on the defensive side of the ball. They hired a new defensive coordinator in Sheil Wood from Houston. He was the DC there last year. Now, when you look at that, Houston was 34th in the country in defensive scoring per game. Defensive scoring allowed per game. But what stands out to me was that Houston's offense ranked 130th in points per game. Now, why does that matter when you look at defense? When you have a really bad offense, you have turnovers, long or not sustained drives. You have punts all the time. Field position is awful. And so what it does is it sets a defense up for failure. Regardless of that, though, Houston ranked 34th in the country in scoring allowed. That shows a lot of effort and masterful game planning from Sheil Wood. I think it's going to absolutely translate to the Texas Tech team. This Raiders team is completely restocked on the defensive side of the football. Now, Ben Roberts and Jacoby Rodriguez, or Rodriguez, one or the other. Those are very capable linebackers. If you go back and watch their film from last year and the year previous, they do a great job at making tackles. Now, they're not guys that are going to be able to get to the passer. They're not excellent coverage guys, but they are guys who read the field well, pursue the ball, and make tackles. Those are the two anchors for this defense. And then bringing in a ton of transfers that are going to start. Specifically, I want to talk about the pass rush. David Bailey from Stanford. A lot of people talk that he was one of the best pass rushers in the transfer portal. And then pairing him with Romello Height. I have highlighted this guy in multiple videos across multiple platforms, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. I think he's one of the best pass rushers in college football right now. He dominated whenever I watched him on film at Georgia Tech. 2.5 sacks, which doesn't sound like a lot, but 7 tackles for loss, 2 forced fumbles. He is going to absolutely tear it up for Texas Tech this year. That's a guy you need to be watching out for. And then going back to David Bailey, he actually had the numbers to back up his talk. 7 sacks, 8 tackles for loss, 5 forced fumbles at Stanford, where there's no other stars on the defensive side of the football. Those two guys are going to be the massive difference makers for this Texas Tech team. Last year, I don't think Texas Tech had a single player over 5.5 sacks. So to bring in two guys with combined 15 tackles for loss and 9.5 sacks, 7 forced fumbles. Those are drastic playmaking differences. And then in the middle of this defensive line, Lee Hunter from UCF, he had 1 sack, but 9.5 tackles for loss. Absolute explosion from the middle of the defensive line. I think this guy is a line of scrimmage dominator, somebody that's going to make an immediate impact for Texas Tech. Overall, look at their schedule for next year. They were competitive in a ton of games last year in conference. Their out-of-conference schedule this season is pretty weak, in my opinion. I absolutely think that Texas Tech can get to the playoffs. All they have to do is go 10-2, potentially make it to the Big 12 championship game and win it. If we looked at teams from last year on the bubble, Iowa State was one of them. If they can have a slightly better season than Iowa State, I fully believe that Texas Tech will be in the college football playoffs for 2025. So that being said, make sure you take a look out for the Red Raiders. They are going to be hunting Big 12 teams this year. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.